Hey you guys, welcome back to Romance Review TV with Lady T, and got another recap for you guys. Married at First Sight UK Season 7 Episode 7. And yeah, we got to talk about this reunion, because this reunion left contestants storming out, gossip spreading throughout the room, and one contestant had a flood of tears. So before we unpack all of this, take a second to make sure you're subscribed to the channel to receive all updates, and please don't forget to like and share. So without further ado, let's talk about this reunion. So first we're going to talk about April and George. So they arrived at the reunion hand in hand, looking happy as ever, until things turned a little bit tense when he revealed to the other cast members what happened on their honeymoon. Now, as we all know, when they went on their whole honeymoon trip, April actually kissed someone else in the hot tub, but later explained it was just quote unquote a dare. And we saw that in, an episode earlier this week where George was like how he woke up numb, cold. They had a great evening, only later to come back and realize that there was this whole incident. And he felt heartbroken and a massive kick in the teeth that she had been intimate with someone else. And then that's when he said he was cheated on. Now, she, on the other hand, didn't really think anything of it. She was like, most guys would be happy to hear about two girls kissing. And so she really didn't take it that serious, especially since she only thought it was a dare. And of course, she brought that champagne back to his room, kind of like an apology to kind of smooth things over. However, this incident was revisited in tonight's episode at the dinner party, because George decided that he wanted to start retelling the story to the other cast. Now, he began telling Richie first that everything was great, and then like the last night, this effing nearly killed him. How he was at the bar getting drinks and he went back to the hot tub and he was like, I could have ripped my ring finger off right then and there because of the fact that he saw her kissing the girl in the hot tub. And he added on, if her head turns again, I am gone. Now, the gossip spread through the room, partly as contestants or the cast members told one another, because George had told a few people by the end of the dinner party. And April was left surprised to hear the news come back to her from Thomas. And she was crying. She was like, I just thought it was this whole fun game. I feel like I'm being judged. And the fact that he told people, he made me feel like I was a bad person. And we got past that, and she really felt hurt about it. And then now George, listening to all of this, she told him that she looks like a pretty much like a D-head apparently. And again, she keep reiterating that, she thought this was a game of truth or dare. She was like, the fact that he betrayed me a bit and he gossiped and said all this stuff about me, it makes her question where his morals are at. And it makes her feel like he's not really over that situation and that can damage George and I moving forward. She was like, how can I trust him? I'm not sure. It's really upsetting. So I don't know if this was pushed by, them having this talk about this issue, because as far as I thought, maybe they were over it. Maybe George was not. Because I don't know, him being able to go around and tell everybody about that night, yeah, I could understand why she felt the way she did. But sometimes people do consider that cheating, no matter who you're with or what you're doing. So it's going to be interesting to see how these two move forward. So let's talk about Kaja and Kwame. Now, these two have pretty much had ups and downs from the day at the altar. His whole comment about wanting somebody more petite, her whole comment about wanting somebody a little bit bigger and taller, and then the fact that, she wanted to sleep with her husband on the honeymoon, and that didn't happen because he kept refusing, based on his reasoning of, he want to make sure that he built a connection. Let's fast forward to this reunion because she was not impressed on his behavior. So he got up, went and got something to drink. He didn't bring anything back to her. And of course, she went in straight away talking about, is that how gentlemanly you are? Kwame offered his drink to Kaja. She declined it by saying, no, it's fine. I'll just have a beer instead. So she got up to go get it. But the disagreement didn't end there because she was like, you should have just given it to me. Now, Kwame then insisted that the whole time they've been together, he'd never, ever seen her even pick up a beer. Then he had something to say about that not being ladylike for her to go have beer. She immediately clapped back, with the whole thing, while I was just sitting here with my long empty hand because my husband decided to feed himself before he fed me. And, it was interesting on what his response was, because his response was, yep, you need to deal with it. So those two are at odds. I don't see anything lasting with them. I know that there's one somebody who is supposed to step out on their spouses. I know folks were saying that it's within this coupling. I don't know. But at the end of the day, these two do not belong together. I mean, just the fact that they're just not really connected with each other. Either one of them. It's, he doesn't like one thing. She doesn't like one thing. She wants one thing. He wants to wait. It's just not happening here. So, I mean, we still have a lot more episodes to go. So we'll have to see what happens with these two as well. And then we had Adrian and Thomas there. They pretty much seem to be building a cohesive relationship at this point. I know they had their ups and downs, especially because their personalities are so different. One is pretty much very energetic and very straightforward, and the other one is chill, laid back, kind of reserved. But I don't know, it seems like maybe they made a happy medium, especially after the whole conversation when Adrian stood up for himself, on the honeymoon. So nothing too much there for me. Let me know if you find something interesting with those two in the reunion. But let's talk about the next couple. And this is my favorite couple, Shanita and Jordan. These two are doing exceptionally well. They're still seeming like they're growing together in their marriage and relationship. They pretty much was sitting around watching and looking and talking about everybody else, what was going on. But I'm happy for those two. I'm going to keep my eyes on Shanita and Jordan because they look like they might make it to the end. Anything could happen. We got a long way to go. We thought the same thing with, of course, Olivia and Jackson from the Married at First Sight Australia version. And they started off strong, and by episode 19, everything went downhill. So we have to wait and see, but I'm hoping for the best for Shanita and Jordan. And then we had a bride that was missing. So in the pairing of Zoe and Jenna, we saw that Zoe arrived to the dinner party alone. And of course, that was causing the other brides and grooms to be shocked and to fear that she may already split with her bride, Jenna. But Zoe did explain that Jenna was going to be absent from the dinner party because she wasn't feeling well. And it looks like Jenna was sick after the honeymoon. So unfortunately, they had to miss the first dinner party. But, she hadn't left the show and was going to be back on screen very soon. And that came from a source behind the scene. But I know a lot of fans was wondering if, she had quit the show. So it looks like that's not the case. And especially sending them off up into that cold honeymoon, I wouldn't be surprised that that's part of the problem. But hopefully she's feeling better after this particular scene, and we'll see her back on camera. And let's talk about Duca and Whitney. So there was more drama from this couple. So first of all, they arrived together with enough space that a truck could drive between them. And I think that was what was said by one of the experts. And we also saw how Whitney was breaking down in tears she was forced to leave the show first dinner party. They're crying at the dinner table behind, beside her husband Duca after a whole awkward conversation with Thomas. She even started off kind of crazy, talking about how, it was a shock to her to marry somebody like him. And what am I doing here? And what am I doing here? And why am I here? And I'm like, you keep asking that question. Maybe you shouldn't have signed up for the show, Whitney. But she did come out on social media, on her Instagram, actually saying, give it some time. We still got a lot of episodes to go. You got to have patience. So I don't know if something changes between these two. But at this point, it's not looking good. And I mean, they're trying to see if she was okay. The tension was so thick, you could cut it with a knife, before we saw her pretty much take off. And, Kasia eventually takes her out of the room as, the crying continues. But, she signed up for this. I mean, and how she acted, because, sometimes editing play a part, but sometimes it don't, and she was really, really hard on Duca throughout the beginning. And he was trying. And then when he was trying, she called him fake. So, I don't know. She's claiming that there's more to come with the upcoming episode. So, we're going to have to wait and see. But at this point, it ain't looking good. And I'm wondering if the fans can even get past the first impressions that she left behind from the beginning of the season. So even if she put in a ton of work, the fans going to have a mountain to climb to try to have a newer, improved impression of Miss Whitney. Okay, there you have it. Your recap for Married at First Sight UK Season 7, Episode 7. Stay tuned for Married at First Sight US Episode number 9, coming very shortly. So until the next video, like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you soon. Bye.